The little facade of Palmer, Alaska, the little Mayberry of Alaska, is not quite what it seems. There's definitely a dark undercurrent to this little community. And today, me, Jamin Goecker, Realtor in South Central Alaska with a mission of helping you and your family build intentional and significant legacies for yourselves and your family by coaching you in real estate. I am going to peel back some of those layers and show you what the dark side of Palmer, Alaska is. Now, before we get started, do make sure you give this video a like, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and let's go ahead and talk about what the dark sides of Palmer, Alaska are. Now, the first thing that I'm going to say, this was actually one of my most difficult videos to make recently, because I am really having to scratch the bottom of the barrel, find negative stuff on Palmer. So I'm going to do my best here, but, cut me some slack. I was really hoping to find something super dark, but yeah, there's only so many dark things to go around in this little town. But let's go and jump into it. Number one, with it being kind of a smaller town, it can definitely feel like there's not a whole lot to do over there, because there's not for the most part. If you're living in Palmer, it's not because you need to be right there in the pulse of everything that's happening in the metropolitan area. So if that's really your scene and you need that to really feel like you're enjoying the area that you're living in, Palmer might not be a great spot for you for that reason. Another kind of a darker side of being in Palmer and kind of any small town in general, it's a smaller community, and so everybody's going to know your business a lot more so than if you're in a big city. In a big city, you can kind of like just melt into the city at large, and people are really, they're really not going to be in your business. They're really not going to care. But in a smaller community, they're going to know you, and even if they don't know you personally, they're going to know of you. So if you're not used to being in a small community where everyone kind of knows each other and everyone's going to know each other's business, then that could definitely be kind of a negative and kind of a darker side of living there as well. All right, and this next one caught me some slack, okay? So I did see a comment a while back saying that some of the school buildings on the exterior looked kind of outdated. Yeah, that's where I'm at, talking about how dark Palmer, Alaska is. But let's go ahead and take a break real quick. I've got a couple more that I'm going to share with you, but let's take a break real quick here. For those who've been watching for a bit, you do know that I host the Alaskan Journey podcast, in which I interview people who've recently moved up here and talk about their experiences and really kind of show you what it's like from people who are authentically living up here. So it's not just me talking about Alaska and the process of getting up here as well. In addition to that, I also have a relocation guide I share with people who are planning on moving up here. And this is a great tool for those of you who just want some real basic generic questions answered. To get that, go to my website. The link for that is going to be in the description section. Click on that. Go register to my website and then put relocation guide in the comment section so I know what to send you. Now, let's finish up talking about the dark side of living in Palmer, Alaska, and we'll see if we can find something that's a deal breaker here for you. Oh, here's one. I am sure there is drugs, and I'm sure there is crime somewhere. Okay, go look at the crime map, but I am sure it's there. It's got to be there, right? Like it's a town. People live there. There's got to be some crime. Totally. Okay, so there's going to be drugs, there's going to be crime. Go figure it out where it is. The next thing I would say is there's not going to be a whole lot of job opportunities in Palmer specifically. Now, for some people, this actually might be a deal breaker just because it's going to be a bit of a commute to get to Anchorage. Going from Palmer over to Anchorage, I think that's actually going to be like a 35, 40, 50-minute commute one way. For some people that are used to living in this really hopping metropolitan area, like let's say Dallas, Houston, any of those areas, that might not sound like very much at all, but for some people who want to be super close and not have any kind of a commute, that can be a little, it can be a turnoff. So, there's not a whole lot of job opportunities in a community of only about 7,000 to 8,000 people. So you're not going to find the, middle class, white collar, corporate America jobs in Palmer for the most part. I'm sure there are a couple, not a whole lot of them en masse. Another dark side of living in Palmer, and this one actually is one that I want you to pay attention to, but that is the winds can really howl through that area from time to time. Now, usually it's not going to have that big of an impact, but every now and then you're going to have like some really hurricane-like force winds go through there. I say hurricane, that's probably a little dramatic, but this past January, they did have winds go through that knocked out a lot of the power in the area, and there was a lot of damage that happened from it. Actually, the power went out in the Fred Meyers in Palmer, and I mean, it looked like Elsa went through there and just, froze the entire area because the sprinkler systems broke, and then all the water from those just went all over the place, and then the heat was out because the power was out. And so all that stuff just froze that way. So yes, the wind can definitely be a big one. And that's why you see a lot of the houses in this area, they're going to have metal roofs. That's what you do when you're in an area where you experience a lot of high winds. You get metal roofs just to kind of protect against it. And for the most part, it's just going to be like, thunderstorms, and in Texas or, anywhere else you're going to have thunderstorms. And that's just going to be something that comes and goes, and usually it's just not going to be that big of an impact. Last but not least, dark side of living in Palmer is that there is not a whole lot of really cheap living accommodation options in Palmer. So this area is becoming more and more popular because, number one, it is close to Hatcher's Pass, and they're putting in a ski lift over there. Well, not putting in, they've put in a ski lift, and they're continuing to build that out. And once that continues that way, you're probably going to see more businesses and attractions get drawn to that area. And that is actually like right there just north of Palmer. So you're going to see more and more of that development happening. You're probably also going to see a lot of other development and subdivisions developing just because of all the areas in the Matsu that's being developed. The lion's share for where the new ones are happening is actually going to be just north of Palmer. So that being said, though, those are new construction homes. They are not going to be cheap. They are top of the market, top market value that you're going to be getting. They're going to be brand new. But yes, they're going to be expensive because they're brand new. So housing is not particularly cheap in Palmer, so that's definitely kind of a downside. If you're renting, it's still going to be kind of expensive to rent over there as well. So thanks for watching. Sorry, I could not come up with more dark sides of living in Palmer. Kind of just talk yourself into moving to Palmer, making a video like this, but any of these are kind of turnoffs for you. There you go. You got that. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. And cut me a break. I did the best I could.